Welcome to the Christian Life Coach Collective. I'm your host, Laura Malone, and you are in the right place if you want to make an impact in your life and the lives of the people around you. Maybe you even want to turn your gift of helping others into an income so you can support your family and your dreams and make a way for your calling. I'm here to guide you because you deserve to have encouragement and resources and somebody invested in you as you go invest yourself into everyone else. Let's dive into today's episode. I think that I have kind of settled in this space of, because I love growth.
Mm-hmm.
I love to grow and I love to consume to produce and I love to create deadlines because I know that that helps me stay accountable. So I do things instead of
Mm-hmm.
getting paralyzed or like all of the stuff. And I have my own tools and um, I love to help other people find like what tools and coaching skills work best for them. It's very
Right.
individual, but I also have like a deep affection for acceptance.
Yes.
So right here where I'm at in this moment is still worthy, capable, and lovable. I,
Yeah.
I am still dearly loved and chosen, like
Yeah. Yeah.
right as I am. And so
Right.
I don't need to change to gain anything.
Right.
But from that place of acceptance and like adoption and daughterhood,
Yes.
from that place, I can grow and expand. So I want
Yes.
transformation and I want
Yes.
growth unto like God's will for my life, but I don't need to strive to do that on my
Mm-hmm.
own in
Mm-hmm.
order to be different or better than what I am. There's like, I get
Yes.
like a tension to walk in our culture where there's acceptance of yourself, but it's not equal to apathy.
Yes.
It's like I accept where I am. I still love me where I am,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I also like desire to grow and transform and be who I'm becoming as well.
Right.
Like both
Right.
versions, all of the versions are worthy, 100% worthy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to do anything to gain love, to
Right.
anything.
Right. But there is such a mentality of, but if I'm not doing enough or I'm not saying enough or you're just not enough, we just don't feel like we're enough. And it's a hard practice that I would love to figure out how to more eloquently teach people to say, I just want to say, shh, be quiet right where you are. Just pause and, like, it's almost like, when you're in a pool and you go underwater, how, like, the whole world just stops and it's just you in the water. It's just you experiencing that surroundedness. That's almost how I imagine it when you were talking about, just being okay right where you are and being where you are. That's how I feel. And it's like when you pop your head above the water, then you've got all the stuff you have to deal with. But when you're down under that water, though, you can think more clearly about who you want to become, what you really want to say, how you really want to say it. What does God, and you can hear God's voice better that way. He can show you more clearly when you're quiet what it is you're supposed to do in the next step. And it's
Right.
but we just don't hear that often enough. It's okay right where you are. And that's where he's going to work from because we see it, well, I'm not good enough. I haven't done enough. I haven't created enough. I haven't done whatever enough that God would use me. And so I don't think we can hear it enough that God works through our weaknesses. That's where
Mhm.
he is.
Right.
And that's hard. That's really hard. Like I
Well, it's
struggle with that.
anti-soul.
Yes, it is. Because you're right. My soul says, I can do this. And if I can't do this, it isn't meant to be. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. you
Line up with
know?
the truth.
Yeah.
We just watched, I don't know if you've seen this movie. It's called 13 Lives. And it is about a soccer team of 13 boys
Oh, no.
and the coach in Thailand. And it's a real story, a true story of how they went into a cave,
Oh, yes. I
local
remember that.
cave, and they
Yeah.
were in there for weeks.
Yes.
When the first divers found them,
Hmm.
basically they were so shocked how after like almost a week and a half, it was more than a week and a half when they found them,
Hmm.
that they were all still alive
Hmm.
at the end of the cave in complete darkness, all of this time, a couple of flashlights, no food.
Mhm.
And what pulled me from this one scene
Mhm.
is that these 2 divers that find them after they've been trying for 2 weeks to, like, get to the
Get
boat.
to them. Yes.
These 2 drivers that find them, they pop up in the water, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we cannot believe they are alive. How is this possible?" Plus, the oxygen
Mhm.
has gone, at, like, 16%.
Mhm.
We need like, the oxygen usually is, like,
21.
21%
Yes.
there, and so they have after a week and a half, the oxygen level is at 16%,
Mhm.
which is getting deadly
Mhm.
at by the minute, and how did they stay alive for a week and a half
Mhm.
with depleted oxygen, no food?
Yeah.
There's 13 of them.
Yeah.
And the coach, basically one of the boys that speaks English says, the coach had us meditate and pray.
Mm. Mhm.
And they're like, we've been meditating and praying. And I said to my husband, I said, the how could you survive 10
Mhm.
days or longer in complete darkness,
Mhm.
not utter despair, really, if you let
Yes.
your mind go there.
Yes.
Um, but if you were to meditation and prayer just
Mhm.
put you in a place of peace and rest.
Yes.
And so that stills your heartbeat, and
Mhm.
when your heartbeat slows down, you're not breathing so
Right.
much.
Right.
So you're like, they're actually shifting the atmosphere by
Mhm.
staying in a place of meditative prayer,
Mhm.
and they're shifting the atmosphere literally at the molecules of, like, of oxygen.
Mhm.
There would have
Mhm.
been less oxygen sooner if they'd
Right.
all been freaking out for days,
Right.
if they'd
Right.
been panicking, and then at one point, the 2 divers go away, and the boys are like, I mean, you're gonna get saved, and, "Oh, you're not."
Right.
They're leaving, and
Right.
they didn't have any food for us, they all of the things, and then the coach says to one of the boys who gets a little upset,
Mhm.
and he says, "The fear is only in our minds."
Mhm.
And so he brings them back to a place of meditative rest.
Yeah.
And it's
Wow.
all about,
Yeah.
let's not give room for the fear.
Right. Right.
In this place of
Right.
darkness, in this long, long night season where there seems to
Yes.
be no hope,
Yes.
let's let's shut out the world
Right.
and let's meditate on what will be helpful to us. What
Right.
are the beliefs and thoughts and emotions that are actually
Yes.
grateful and beneficial? Think on the things that are praiseworthy,
Yes.
true,
Yes.
like all of the
Exactly.
things that the Bible tells us to do. And if we do that throughout the
Yes.
day, if we even if
Mhm.
we can't turn off all the sounds and the
Mhm.
voices
Mhm.
because of our circumstances,
Mhm.
we can still go to that place and
Mhm.
meditate on the Lord and the word and the
Mhm.
truth.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and my brother he recently told me, he's like, I went to the doctor and this naturopath doctor told me they want me to meditate. I'm not doing that. And I said, every time you worry, you're meditating. I said, you're already
True.
really
On the wrong
all you're
thing.
doing. And he was like, meditation is new age. I said, no, it's just dwelling on whatever you choose to dwell on. It's like
Yeah.
you're either choosing to dwell
Mhm.
truth or not.
Right.
You're dwelling,
Right.
you're marinating in it. Like I say, like, jump in the Ziploc and get marinated
Yeah.
in the truth,
Yes.
It's like you're making a choice what to meditate on, and you're either
Yeah.
meditating on the truth and the word,
Yeah.
who Christ says you are, and
Yeah.
God's promises are, or you're meditating on fear and worry and things that
Right.
empower darkness in your life.
Right.
Either
Right.
one is meditation.
Right.
And so
Absolutely
I think that,
true.
like, having a Sabbath rest
Yeah.
is more of that, like, let's turn off, like you said,
Yeah.
all of those voices. And
Yeah.
I, a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago,
Mhm.
I got really sick, and I don't know what was wrong with me.
Mhm.
It wasn't the Rona, but I laid in bed for 4 days. I
Mhm.
sweated like crazy. I
Mhm.
couldn't read a book. I couldn't keep my eyes open for 4 days. I just laid in bed. I don't
Mhm.
or eating. I don't know. I'm sure maybe I did. And all I know is that suddenly at the end, like after 4 days, I just popped out of bed
Mhm.
and I was all better.
Yeah.
And it was like grandma came and just kissed me on my forehead, and
Yeah.
I was able
Yeah.
to get up and go play in the backyard. But what happened is my brain couldn't work for 4 days,
Mhm.
and I felt so at peace. I
Yes.
felt so joyful. I felt
Yes.
like a different person
Yeah. Yeah.
because my brain got a
Yes.
4-day Sabbath.
Right.
It
Right.
wasn't my body doesn't need a Sabbath,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
My
Right.
brain does,
Yes.
and my mind,
Yes.
and I'm like, "Wow, it's so powerful to
Yes.
actually stop doing the thing that you do all of the rest of the week," and some
Yes.
people need to take a physical break from labor because of what they
Yes.
do, but
Yeah.
for me, I have to make my brain
Yes.
not work. I have
Yeah.
to engage in physical activity and do other things and remove
Yes.
myself from the any ability to learn any.
Yes. Yes, and I remember you saying that in the past, and that was another moment I'm like, "Huh," because I really do struggle, like, sitting and physically doing nothing and mentally doing nothing at the same time, like, that's really hard. But I heard you talk about in the past that if your life is very physically demanding, your Sabbath is a physical Sabbath. You may need to read a book to bring things down, but if your work is mind work, like, you're constantly creating and thinking and evaluating and your mind is just going all the time. Your Sabbath is go out and do something physical. Stop using your brain, rest your brain. And once I learned that, I am now able to like evaluate. Okay, have I been physically busy this last week? What do I need to rest? Do I need to rest? Because sometimes, I may be more minded, use my mind more in general, but some weeks are physically demanding and I might need a physical rest. So it's okay to read a book, but if I've been doing nothing physical all week and my mind is just like, just done, it's okay to get out on a Sabbath, quote unquote, and go pull weeds. That's okay to do. And you do rest, you do get charged with that positive and negative, yin and yang or whatever, just the opposites, just working opposite is that was a revelation to me. And it helped me to evaluate more what am I doing too much of or have been just doing of what do I need to rest from?
And the same goes for emotions, which is the same thing, like,
Yes.
you probably deal with that in nursing and especially
Yes.
NICU,
Yeah.
is that, that's compassion fatigue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
experiencing the different types of fatigues that are associated with caregiving and
Mhm.
compassion giving and
Mhm.
exerting yourself to such a degree, like, emotionally all of
Yes.
the time, especially, like,
Mhm.
if you have a parent that's living with you who
Yes.
you become their caregiver,
Yeah.
or even if you're a mom with little kids, like,
Mhm.
it's easy to get caregivers fatigue and compassion fatigue,
Mhm.
those long mom seasons.
Yes.
You don't have any help, and it's, like,
Yes.
exhausting.
Yeah.
In that case, you're, like, wishing that you had a job so you can use your brain
Yes.
because all you're doing you feel like, "I'm just
Yeah.
changing diapers, I'm mopping the floor, I'm
Yes.
physically drained, and I'm emotionally drained.
Right.
Don't feel like I'm thinking."
Right.
And then
Yeah.
you're like, "I wish I had a thinking job." And, there's the grass is always kind of greener in the other season, and
Yeah.
but that emotional break, you have to
Yeah.
find ways to turn that off and care.
Yeah.
It's weird to say it, but I say, like, sometimes my carer is just broken.
Yes.
Like, I
Oh,
don't
I
my
totally
carer
get it.
doesn't work anymore,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like I just don't have capacity to
Yeah.
care about what you need today.
Yes.
Seem
And
to
then
and
and
need me.
and then you put things like hormones in there, and you're like, "My care is broken, and I don't see it coming back for a time, so just hang on.
It's in the repair shop, and they said it's gonna be
It's
months,
gonna be a while."
years.
And, I
Yeah.
do personally, I struggle with, emotions. I'm glad that you brought that up because I don't know how to take a break from emotions. That's one I don't know how to leave. I guess what I do is I watch television, which is awful. That's not really probably the best way to go. But, I'm not having to consume anything, but I don't watch shows like 13 Lives because that would just break my heart. I couldn't do that. I
Definitely.
watch like Star Trek, where you and then I laugh even things like that, I'm like, "Oh, that's so sad. That's so horrible," in Star Trek. So, I do struggle with figuring out how to rest from the emotions because those and I think for me personally, my emotions are stronger than my mind and my physical worlds. My emotions are just like right there all the time
Yeah.
trying to be boss of me. So it
Well,
is
that's where you
important.
need to
Mhm.
take that Sabbath from the emotional work that you constantly do. It's
Yeah.
think of it this way. I think of you need a Sabbath in the ways that you have poured out for 6 days,
Mhm.
come get filled up today. And God is
Yeah.
so faithful and capable that if you'll give him a day to fill
Yes.
you back up,
Yes.
it's like manna, it will last the next 6 days,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know? And
Exactly.
sure, okay,
Yeah.
maybe you need to do it this day and it's 4 days later, 2 days, 9 days.
Yeah.
It's like we're not gonna get legalistic about it.
True.
It's the concept of, okay, I
I'm
am
overloaded.
intentionally resting and trusting in God.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
going to I like you said, that's really wise, like, take notice
Mhm.
of how you've poured yourself out. Am I physically fatigued,
Mhm.
emotionally fatigued,
Mhm.
mentally fatigued?
Right.
And even if I'm not at the point of fatigue yet,
Right.
I still know that I need to come trust in the Lord to fill me up so I can keep going without getting to fatigued, because when we get fatigued, we get messy and things go awry. And so
Mhm.
it's like, we won't get fatigued if we constantly come back, and
Right.
like
Right.
it really is like living like Paul says, I living my life as poured out as a drink offering, like
Mhm.
unto it's an act of worship to the Lord. Like I'm pouring
Mhm.
myself out for
Mhm.
days on end, doing the thing God's gifted me or honored me with being able to do, impacting lives, taking care of people, paying the bills.
Mhm.
And then I need to get filled up. And
Mhm.
I personally don't know anybody who spends an entire 24 hours of a Sabbath
Yeah.
sitting on the couch and not doing anything
Same. Yeah, I know.
all. And
Yeah.
like you said, sometimes you proactively have to rest by doing something else.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me, that means, okay, go do yard work
Yes.
because it prevents me. And here's the key for me: do not listen to a podcast
Yes.
or
Yes.
an audible nonfiction
Yes.
book while I do
Yes.
yard work, because then I'm engaging my brain.
Yes.
Need to go for a walk or a hike or you do yard
Yes.
work or float in the pool and go to sleep. Like
Right.
I have to do other things that
Yes.
allow my brain to
Yes.
get filled back up
Yeah.
and get in the word, or,
Yeah.
you know, also add Star Trek or The Crown. Like,
Right. Yes.
okay,
That was a
I
good
think
one. Yes. Yeah.
I think you have permission to find the ways that work for you that
Yeah.
turn off the one,
Yes.
let it be refreshed. And there's ways to do it that are really
Yeah.
powerful and
Mhm.
fruitful. And then
Yeah.
there's ways to do it that are not fruitful,
Yes.
but
Well, and I think the trick is though is to always, okay, how can God be the center of what I'm about to do?
yeah.
Like I have this, it's my own made up little rule that I have for myself. If I get busy in the morning before I actually sit down and do my quiet time, I'm not allowed to listen to podcasts for knowledge or anything like that. I can only listen to worship music. And I don't do that as like a punishment. I actually do that because I have found that it works. Like when I'm out, I was serenading the neighborhood the other day because I was had worship music on with earbuds and earphones, so I couldn't hear myself, but I'm sure they did. And it's just it it filled me up. I was able to I had a great day because I was able to rest my mind, but I activate the Holy Spirit, I would allowed him to fill me up. And so, and maybe that's how I need to view like going how to fill up that emotional cup because um it's real easy to empty it out, but I'm currently in a season where I am alone and it is like where do you get that from? Like who's going to fill up your emotional cup? And like most people I'm looking around and there really is no one to give it to me. So I'm like, "Oh, this should have been my first thought. It's my last thought. Well, God can do that." And so just bringing him into that space of whatever you need filled up with. First of all, you'll find it in the word. That's where it's going to be. And then he's going to show you ways to apply it that work for you. Because like you said, everybody does things differently. We get filled up differently. We respond differently. We hear things differently than others. And that is okay. And that is what I've learned in the last 2 years of my life coach journey here is whatever works is okay. You don't have to write in your journal 3 pages every day. You don't have to do that, and that's okay. No one comes out with a rule book, and I didn't come with, you have to do this every day, and it's whatever works. But you just have to try to find what works and not get lost in avoiding it. You have to work, you have to be intentional about it.
Right. But not get locked up legalistically
No,
and it
exactly.
as a formula. I have to
Exactly.
do this or failing
Right.
because
And
some
then
things only work for a season.
it's exactly what I was gonna say, and it may only work for a little while, and that's how my brain works. Like, I'll do something a certain way, and then, I don't know, it depends on what it is, and then, it's like, I don't wanna do that anymore. I'm gonna do this a different way." Like walking to the floor that I work on the hospital, I decided, "I'm kinda tired of taking this route. I'm gonna take another route." And I'm like, "Oh, but I'm changing this. Why do you do this?" And I'm like, "'Cause I can and I want to, and now my brain feels better because I'm not loathing where I'm going. It's a new adventure, even though it's just a different elevator." It's nothing profound. But I find a lot of times in our lives, it's those little bitty things that we change, just like that 1%, like James Clear talks about. Change 1% of what you're doing, and it will trickle to other things. So just finding that one thing that resonates with your mind or your body or your emotions, and changing that one little thing, you'll feel it. You'll feel the difference for sure.
It's so good.
It's
It's just a different elevator.
I know
I feel like it's gonna be a metaphor for something.
When you take a different path, it's just a different elevator. And I'm not kidding when I say I had a conversation with myself. I'm like, "Oh, let's try this elevator." I'm like, "But we don't go that elevator. We take that other elevator." I'm like, "But why? This one goes right down, right where you haven't been in this elevator in a long time, but that's not where we go. We go there." And I'm like, "Just take the elevator. Just do something new." And I took it down. I'm like, "Oh, look, this is a beautiful space. Look at all this natural light. That other elevator didn't have this natural light." It's it's
Well, it's
silly.
your brain loves patterns, and so your
It
brain's like,
does.
"We"
Yeah.
but we have certainty if we go that direction.
Yes.
We know how
Yeah.
many steps, we know how long it's gonna take us,
Yes.
we already know the obstacles we're gonna run into.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
But yeah, it's
you get
funny
to
you
places like, "This could be risky if we take that other
yeah.
elevator. What if we run into other people who are gonna make us late?"
Right. Well, and that's funny that you say that, because the reason first time I had to go to that other elevator is because the normal elevators weren't working. And when I walked into that bank of elevators not working, I'm like, "What, how do I get there now?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, really? This is it, go to the other elevator." I'm like, "But we don't go this elevator."
Well, we like a good formula, don't we?
Yes. Right, exactly.
If you'd like to work with me and get coaching, become a coach, or start a coaching business, check out all the courses and coaching I offer at sterlingandstonementoring.com, or you can scroll through the show notes to find all the links that you need. I pray that your day will be full of joy, hope, transformation, and the presence of God.